I have been framing an opening sentence since the first time I saw TED. So it was like, hello, I'm Fathima Hakkim, I'm 16 years old. The next year it was like, hello, I'm Fathima Hakkim, I'm 17 years old. 18, 20, 21. And today, hello, I'm Fathima Hakkim, I'm 25 years old. I am an architect by profession and an artist by everything else. I have been asked a lot how I became an artist. I am from a very conservative Muslim family, and no, I don't have any grandparents who are artists, or my parents are not artists, no. I did not become an artist because of passion. I had no idea I would become an artist. I pictured myself as a homemaker when I'm 25. I'll have 2 children running around me. I'll cook beautiful food. I'll fold my sheets really neat as my mom wants, and be a very good homemaker. But then how did I become an artist? That is what I'm trying to deliver to you today. It was not just because of passion. It was a matter of survival for me. I became an artist because I want to live the next day, because I want to survive in this world, because I want to see the marvel that has been created around and then go away. So it all started when I was little, and my childhood actually started with a very bad experience. The memory line, as I can remember, I guess I was 5 or 6. So after that, I started getting these really bad nightmares. The nightmares were so bad that I see my loved ones dying every day. I see my family, my siblings, the people I love, I see them dying every day. Or some other day, I see monsters, ghosts, everything. So I was someone who was very afraid of the dark. And that resulted in me being an early insomniac. I couldn't sleep at night. I was very afraid to sleep at night. I've always felt like something is there in the dark to get me. And the crickets, the sound of the crickets, I used to imagine it as the chains the ghosts have as they walk. So I thought, there is something in the dark to get me. And we had this chechi at home who used to help my mom, and she said, Fatima, if you look closely in the dark, you can see cat's eyes. So me being little, I used to blink so much, and you blink and you see some spark. I thought there were cat's eyes in the dark to get me. I couldn't sleep. So that is when I started drawing. My dad has bought some sketch pens and everything for me and my brother. I would just draw all night. And when the sunlight creaks in, I would start sleeping. My mom would wake me up at 7:30. The bus was about to come. So someone who doesn't sleep at night, obviously, we will be all drowsy and everything in the morning. I would go to the class and sit and sleep. So I am someone who has dyslexia. My head is all messed up. With numbers, with lines, with colors. I couldn't identify colors when I was little. I used to say green for red and red for green. It was all ulta. I used to be beaten up a lot because I couldn't get anything right. Teachers would check my notebook. They would write something on the board. I write something else. It's a totally different manuscript. So I used to get beaten up a lot, called stupid, insulted, made to stand out of the class. It is very unfortunate how little things affect your life completely. And such a thing happened, I don't remember which grade I was. I was sitting on the class. I had this huge urge to pee. I wanted to pee so badly that I told my teacher, ma'am, can I go and pee? She's like, no, you can sit here and you can go once the class is over. So I tried really hard, but I couldn't. I just peed in the class. So along with that, I was crying because I was so ashamed of myself that I'm doing it. And the teacher saw it. She was so angry. The kids saw it. They started laughing out really loud. They started bursting out and started, I don't know, making these funny sounds. I was so ashamed that I had my head down. I was sitting there. And suddenly the maid came. She was very mad at me for being in the class. So what she did was, I was wearing a tiny frock. If I can remember, it was yellow. She made me take off that frock, and she made me stand in front of the class in an underwear. So even if we are little, we are very conscious about our body. When I was made to stand there, my whole world went upside down. Everyone, we have this boys, girls thing when we are little in school. The guys, the boys, they started yelling out. I was so ashamed. I was so ashamed. And from that day on, I always had my head down when I walk, every time I go to school. So coming back home, I used to sit and paint at night. Going to school, I started scribbling from there because I couldn't face other people. Because I didn't have the guts to go and talk to someone and I was a total mess in studies. I used to fail continuously. When the results will be published, the annual exam results will be published in the notice board, I would rush to see if I passed. I just wanted to pass. And many times it will be like conditionally promoted. I would go home and mom will be like, did you pass? I'm like, no. So she'll have to go and talk to the class teacher. Fatima is a little child. Can you make her promoted to the next class? So after that, I fell into very bad depression. Thing is, we get punished for little things we do. Our parents punish us, the society, our teachers, people around, they punish us for little things we do. So what I thought is, and after they punish, they're like, okay, now you can go. It's more like they forgive us after they give us the punishment. They get this, there's this expression of theirs, like, okay, we are done, now you can go. So what I thought is, if I punish myself, maybe I can forgive myself and feel better. So I used to self-hurt, physically and mentally, and that is the worst thing I've did to me. And school went on, and I reached a point where I will not survive. I hated myself so bad that I just wanted to end it all. I couldn't take another day, because I couldn't see another day. I couldn't study properly. I was failing in everything, plus the nightmares and this insecurities, depression. When we explain depression to someone, they say, don't think about it, think about something else. It doesn't work that way. Every morning you wake up, the first thing that hits you is, okay, this is what I am right now. I was called as crazy, and when I'm called crazy today, I'm happy about it. But those days, it was very hard for me to digest. They're like, Fatima is crazy. Everything was very hard for me. I couldn't communicate to anyone. My parents are professionals. Dad is a doctor, mom is a teacher. They're like really busy with their schedules. I actually thought to finish it off. And there was this friend of mine. She showed me a fruit, a red fruit. She said, it has poison. If you eat it, you'll die the next day. So I took a bunch on my way back from school. I ate it all, and I said my prayers, and I went to sleep. The next day I was there. I was like, okay, Fatima, you won't die. And I thought, maybe, what if maybe, if I start loving myself, maybe my life will change. So I started loving myself. Every day I pat me in the morning and like, hey, it's a new day, let's go, let's paint. And when I started loving myself, I started painting for myself. Before it was all landscapes and beautiful sunsets, so that I wanted to please other people. I just stopped pleasing people. I wanted to love myself. I started painting my thoughts. So I always had this very different thoughts. I see things in front of me that people doesn't see. So last day I was lying on a rock on top of a mountain, and I was looking at the stars, and I felt like the stars are a part of a huge chandelier. The stars are the crystals of a huge chandelier. That was something I felt one day. And the next day I felt like, okay, maybe its house is there. And that's the lights they turned on, because it's night. And some days you don't see some stars, okay, they went to sleep early. Something like that. So my thoughts were all, like people say, crazy. And I started painting them out. After that, I went to college. The same thing, I don't get the line straight, the number straight. 5, 6, 9, it all goes ulta. So for architecture, you need to be very specific. I was good with concepts, the basic layouts, but when it comes to working drawings, I was a total mess. So I was year-dropped on my 3rd semester. I had a lot of back papers. Basically, I stand in front of you because of my mistakes. That's something I realize right now, because things went wrong terribly in my life, because life did not go the way I planned it to be. And that is the sole reason I'm here. And college was again a mess. I was year-dropped, I sat at home. I didn't stop painting. I painted all along. And then I was out of college. When I went out of college, I saw a lot of lives. I saw a lot of people struggling. I saw a lot of females, to be very specific, from my community, who are stuck inside homes, who is very passionate, who wanted to study, who had to drop their study after marriage, and a lot of people stuck. So I thought, okay, you have your paintings, now go and do something so that they will feel like someone is there. Someone did it. And if she did it, maybe I can do it. So that is when I came back home. I had some little gold with me. I sold it all out. I bought a lot of paints and canvases. I locked myself inside a room for 1 month and I started painting. 38 paintings. So that was the time I realized I have this tremors in my hand. They're like there for a long time now. So I used to paint with brushes, but at a point I couldn't hold my brush properly. I couldn't hold spoons properly because it was so embarrassing that my hands were shaking like a lot. So I started painting with my fingers and feet. I would lay down the canvas on the floor and I would just walk, sit, dance, roll, sleep, anything I want on the canvas. I started practicing myself to paint in fingers, and that resulted in big, huge canvases. And once I was done with my paintings, I went to the people I love and said, I want to do an exhibition. They said, we don't think it'll be possible. But I wanted to do it, that I started looking for places to exhibit my paintings. I tried once, the place was all set, the brochures were printed, the dates were announced, it got cancelled. Twice, thrice, 4 times, 5 times, it was cancelled. Sometimes they demanded a lot of money that I couldn't, because I had no job by then. I just graduated from architecture. I had no money. And the first time it was cancelled, I was on the floor, I bursted out into tears, and I'm like, no, Fatima, you're not going to do it. After a while, I thought, a lot of people would have given up thinking it won't work out on the 5th time. Maybe what if works out on the 6th time? So someone told me there's a gallery in Calicut, and I went there. I rolled out all my paintings and kept it in a Volvo bus. There's a luggage counter beneath the Volvo bus, and I kept it all, and I went to Calicut. It was a new city for me. I didn't know anyone. I went there and announced that the painting exhibition will happen in 5 days. The paintings were not even framed. I didn't sleep for 5 days because I was an introvert. I was someone who always kept things to myself, and suddenly I'm out in the world for people to criticize. My paintings were all out. I didn't sleep for 5 days, and finally it happened. The paintings were all on the gallery. It was all set. I was standing there, and people started coming in. And then I knew how my mistakes or the things I went through was a blessing in my life. Because if it wasn't there, I wouldn't have even tried to do something. That was beautiful. The exhibition was so beautiful that it happened in Kochi after 1 week. And once the exhibitions were over, I knew what I wanted to do. Because as I was dyslexic, I had to face a lot of struggles. And there's a lot of children who are dyslexic, but their parents can't identify it. So I started an organization for my own. It's just me. There's no one else. And I started researching on how I can make people understand that dyslexia is not a huge issue. Van Gogh was dyslexic. Steven Spielberg is dyslexic. All the amazing people are dyslexic, so that the brain works in a different way. It doesn't go on a straight route. It goes jumbled up. So I started going to schools. I started talking to people. I started to put myself out there saying, if I can make it, certainly your kids can make it. Don't put them into a lot of pressure. So that is basically my story on how my art transformed from the back of my Max notebook to huge wall arts. So the first time I was asked to do a wall art was for a workshop I was conducting. So till that point, I've never even sketched something on the wall with a pencil. Someone asked me, hey, can you conduct a wall art workshop at our college? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? I just went there. There's a whole lot of children. I didn't even know what paint to use. I had no idea. I just did it. And my first wall art was a wall art workshop I conducted, and it went beautiful. So I switched on to walls now. Till this point, what I thought is, we all have a wooden box inside of us which has a lot of locks. So, and I feel that we are all made up of everything in the universe. We're made up of the sea, the trees, everything. The blood that flows through us resembles the sea. The veins, it resembles the trees. in the skin, the soil. I don't know. It's something I make up. So every one of us will have a dominating factor. For me, it's the skies. I see the skies, it calms me down. It opens some locks. So I think we all have to travel a lot, meet new people, and understand what unlocks us. And I guess the final box is where you find peace within yourself. You start loving yourself, and that is very important. 25 years, and one huge thing I learned is self-love. You have to love yourself. You have to be kind to yourself. No one else, you can't expect anyone else to do that. You are very much complete on your own. You can be happy on your own. You don't need another human for that. You don't need a boyfriend, you don't need a girlfriend, you don't need anyone to do that. You are so much good by yourself. And I placed my happiness in very, very little things. In watering my plant or having a good lime soda and parampuri. That is where I kept my happiness, and I made it. I made it till now. I was supposed to end my life when I was probably 14 or 15, and it didn't work out. But here I am, is because I started loving myself. And that is the greatest thing you can do to yourself. Love yourself. It's your tiny life. You, your body, your soul, your time, your space, completely your life. Live your life, not anyone else's. Love yourself, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. And there's a lot to see, a lot to experience. The world is all ours, and we all deserve to see it and live it. So thank you so much for being such a patient audience, and thank you so much for listening to me.